What's your favorite oh shit moment when you saw somebody bend something different?
Toph discovering metal bending.
Toph discovering metal bending. Season 3, when you meet the 4 like bads in that series.
No, my thing was when Zaire when Zaire flies.
Yeah,
that was wild.
Yeah. That was my oh shit moment.
I would still like it's not a type of bending so per se, like it's not like anyone can't do it. But for me, one of the best oh shit moments was when Zuko redirected lightning, and like he was just like
that was coming.
But you knew it was coming, but it was so well done because you figure like the way that Iroh was like, if you f this up, you can die. Like, no hesitation. There was no like, he emphasized, you mess this up and you can die. You have to let it go through you. And Zuko was like, he was like, I bet.
And then, but doesn't Aang does it too, right? Aang does it to Ozai.
I think Aang eventually does it to Ozai. But
I honestly, with the magma bending, I honestly thought it was a very cute moment because the entire time I wanted Bolin to win so bad, and he kept not winning at things, and he was not.
Bolin is best boy material.
Right.
You can fight me on that one too.
And it was just like my whole heart.
Bolin is Kurosaka.
Yeah, right. So finally, when we see him in this moment of winning and he was able to save the day by magma bending, I was like, my whole heart went out to him because like this whole time I've been like, come on, Bolin, you gotta get something, win something. Like, and he finally did. It was just like a touching moment for me.
Mine was the swamp benders.
Oh,
that was a hella dope.
That was my show because there was nothing leading up to it. There's no foreshadowing. It's like these guys are like waterbending plants.
Oh, the waterbender with the tentacles.
Yes.
Up to this point, we've seen everybody. They do motions and everything with their arms, type of dancing to do bending of any type. She wasn't the only other person that didn't do bending was his aunt, was the Combustion Man, and then we kind of get Combustion Woman in this season. Right. But it was her at this point. She's bending just with like pure like motion or something like that. Mm-hmm. And the
I feel like that's just a callback to Toph because Toph essentially is a character where everyone like you saw it in her arc when you first meet her. Everyone looks down on her. She's blind. She's frail. She's this and the third, and she's like, nah, I'm a bad. Like, what's up?
Having disabilities in general as a representation that was needed, and it's absolutely beautiful. And you can see it even in the next series that they created. The same people who created Avatar, they created the Dragon Prince, and you can see it there too.
Another thing I want to touch up on too, which I loved about both Avatar series, was the representation that women were not a damsel in distress, especially with and this is the biggest example I have to give of was Suki, who was in prison, and they're trying to figure out how to get the warning. And then the guy's like, wait, your girlfriend up there. She was like, gang, 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 gang. She's down. She's like, yo, you my prisoner now. We're getting out of here. Again, each and every female character was a strong representation. None of them were
Suki, Ty Lee, Azula, like, they was ready to throw hands. Toph, they were ready to throw hands and run fades like it was nobody's business.
Yep.
Azula's from Brooklyn, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, prove me wrong. I want our listeners in the comments right now while you're listening. Prove me wrong.
Tylee's from
Kiyoshi is from the Bronx. Azula's from Brooklyn.
And Tylee's from Westchester.
Oh, Tylee's definitely from Westchester. but don't get it twisted. She's from Yonkers.
She lives in Westchester.
She lives in Westchester, so she has a nice house, but she's from Yonkers. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
She spent time with her friends right on the cusp of the Bronx. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Where's mine from? Long Island?
Oh yeah. Mine's definitely Long Island.
From Long Island. She's so emo. Yeah, she's definitely from Long Island.
For sure.
No doubt.
But no, again, there was really great representation. Even like when you got into Toph's family, her two daughters were both powerful women. Even her granddaughter, who became an airbender, she was Opal. She became pretty much tough in her own right.
And you can't sleep on Kuvira, man.
No.
I respect her as a villain and a person so much.
I like Kuvira so much. I think I think what she stood for and everything was great. It was hard to one up like with Zaire and his whole plan because it was so grand scheme. But like I would say like I didn't think she should have been the series finale big bad. I think she would have been like in the middle.
You know
but
why?
you needed the trauma from Zaire to get Korra to where she was.
I think it was just hard to dislike Kuvira, and I think that's why you're saying that, because I feel like there's a lot of relatable qualities, and even in her principles, like to understand her.
Yeah.
The way that she went about it. I mean, of course, she's a villain. She's a villain, true and true. She did the wrong thing, but her principles and the way she stood for them and the way she, led, it was just like so hard not to appreciate her moments.
Is she in some ways like a Killmonger? I almost feel like.
Almost, yeah.
Yes. Like, that's what I said. Kuvira was right. That's what I'm saying. And because like she was right for to do what she did for the Earth Kingdom to be united because it was so ravaged after Zaire. So like technically what I'm saying makes sense. It doesn't make sense because you needed Zaire to do what he did in the Earth Kingdom for Kuvira to become Kuvira. Otherwise she just would have been a general in the Steel Kingdom. But yeah, no, I mean, it made sense what she was doing, but then it just gets to a point where like, you don't know what the rest of your people are doing. You don't know if the other states are really being treated equally like they should, when in reality, they're sending people who are traitors and all that to re-education camps and stuff. Like there's that's where the villainy comes from. But the whole point of uniting under a strong fist, because this whole monarchy has been just a joke since we remember with the Earth Kingdom from both the first series and this one, and probably in the past. I'm sure the Earth Kings just sucked.
One of the best leaders that the Earth Kingdom had was Boomy. Like, don't get it twisted. Boomy was that dude.
Well, Boomy was
he was a crazy old man,
but Boomy wasn't an Earth King though. He was like a governor of his city,
right? Yeah, but he's the best leader representation. He's like best leader, right? He's the best leader representation of the Earth Kingdom that we've seen.
He became the king, right? Did he?
No.
I don't think so.
He was a member of the White Lotus.
Yeah, the Lotus,
and that city that he was just like their governor or whatever.
Right. He was a more local government.
Yeah.
How do we feel about Tenzins Family? I love Tenzins Family.
Tenzins Family is awesome, and they're adorable.
Yep.
I feel like the what's the little boy's name?
Milo. I love Milo.
Milo. I love him so much, and I fear for the day I have children because that's gonna be my son.
That's my godson.
Lawrence. I swear to God, I saw Milo and I was like, "That's Lawrence's kid."
Yo, it's so bad. Like I'm gonna be like, I can't be mad at it. I know what's happening.
Farting all over the place, boogers in his nose.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like he's gonna be like, look, whoop,
heart bending.
That is straight up my godson. That is my godson. Like, I hope he's watching this. Because that's what he is.
I felt so angry for Tenzin when he was getting beat up in the
when he was fighting Zaire.
Yes, I was like
that fight was dope though. It was dope to see Tenzin throw hands.
Yes, and every time I'm like get him, and then every time he get beat down, I'm just like, oh no, come on Tenzin, like
because he's such a like he takes off from his father. He wants to be, a peaceful like representation of his people, essentially. Yeah. And fighting is a last resort for him. It's not that he's not capable, because we saw him throw hands, but it's not his first instinct. And
but you want to know that there was a similarity there between Tenzin and Aang, his father, because if you really think about it, Aang
spent all his time with that kid. That's why.
Yes.
No, go ahead. I'm sure
because if you look at Aang through his time in the whole series, Aang like had this expectation of the air nomads, which even carried over, as you can see, into his adulthood and carried over into his son. So that's where I saw the similarities in the characters right there.
Yeah. 100%. I feel like Boomy and Kaya probably had a little bit more influence from Sokka than Tenzin, because they're more like jokey.
Boomy had a lot of influence from Sokka. Let's be honest. He hung around his uncle all the time.
All the time, I bet.
Yeah.
That's definitely uncle energy that they carry, both of them. That's the fun uncle. That's the Lawrence over there. Yo, let's talk about the baby Aquas they found. And again, the anger arose, bro. The anger arose when they stole Appa in the Earth Kingdom arc and the anger that arose, when they put these little babies in cages, I was ready to fight somebody, yo.
I've also the worst part for me was or the most heartbreaking part about it was seeing Aang get mad at Toph and being too blind and rage to understand what she did to at least keep them alive.
So she held up a whole building on sand.
Like not even a building. Like let's not flex like it's a building.
It was like a library. It was the library of Alexandria that got destroyed. That's exactly what that was.
But
you know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
But you gotta understand.
Got so pissed he killed a hornet thing.
Anyway,
but you gotta understand, like you can understand Aang's anger because that was the last.
Oh, for sure. Like I'm not. You know,
it was the last. That was the last thing.
I'm not disregarding that at all. I'm not. It was warranted, but it was. It was
unexpected. Yeah, it was unexpected, surprising. You didn't expect that
because of who it was. But that speaks to character development, right?
Yeah, it shows.
We have people just like that in real life. Like, I'm a peaceful person. If you piss me off, it's ugly because you've never seen it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But you see, Aang was more in control of his spirituality, because Tenzin didn't have that, because you saw that anger and that vein pop out on Tenzin's head.
Oh yeah, Tenzin was all for it.
That's because Tenzin's raising all three of his kids.
Again, we had the callback to Cabbage Guy. We had callback to Uncle Iroh. We got to see Zuko. That he wasn't Fire Lord anymore at this time. It's his daughter. Then we got the callback for we got to see Toph. I mean, what are the
Toph in the swamps?
Oh yeah,
man.
But there were
at the great, was it the World Tree?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
like that's so.
Like that's just a callback to that episode from
that,
Avatar.
right? That's like such a. And for her to just be like, yeah, from here I can detect everything on this planet. I was like, oh, we OP now.
No, so one of my favorite callbacks in Korra, and it was early in the beginning, was when they're doing an infiltration in the first season, and they have Lin with them, and then Lin's armor like shoves up into her foot, so her foot's barefoot, and she does the stomp, and then she can see how Toph sees, and I was like, oh, that was awesome. Like that, I thought that was a very cool callback.
And I would love to see what kind of training it took to be able to do that. Even though you're Toph's daughter, I would love to see what she had to go through as someone who is not blind.
She blindfolded
sand in her eye
in a cage. She threw him in a cage, blindfolded him.
She put sand in her eyes. She blindfolded her, put in a cage.
To be fair, I
can see her doing that.
And I don't know that they really made it seem like Toph was a very hands-off type of mom because of her hands-on type of parenting. You know, and that was a big conflict that the two sisters had.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it was just funny to see some of those callbacks though, because I just really laughed when they showed the Cabbage Corporation. Just see the guy holding.
I was waiting for Cabbage, for something Cabbage related, and when I saw that, I jumped off the couch. I was like, yeah! But I don't know if this is actually a callback, but I did find it interesting how the Earth Queen is allergic to animals, given her dad, I guess.
The bear.
Yeah. The only bear. Think about it too.
Yeah, just bear.
Actual
just straight up bear.
Avatar was out there with the hybrids.
All right, favorite animal in the series.
The polar bear dog.
In both series.
The polar bear dog was my favorite in Korra. And obviously, Momo. I love Momo. Momo was awesome.
Duck turtles?
Appa and
Duck turtles were cute. I thought
Duck turtles are cute.
Duck turtles are super cute.
I like the lion turtles, but I like the platypus bear.
Yeah,
awesome.
Because it's just so extra.
Do you remember when this dude was trying to
Derek pooping money?
Yes. It's like this will work.
Oh my god,
Julie, and they're like Julie's in there with you. He's like, she's always with me.
Avatar did such a good job of portraying so many issues and respecting so many cultures and views and different scopes on things that, hands down, is one of the best shows of our entire generation.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
And to people who have not seen it, if you watch it and still hate it, come talk to me because I want to meet you. But those of you who don't want to watch it at all,
don't blow up the comments.
I might actually have somebody for you.
So
I do understand the people who are like, I don't want to watch that show. I'm not interested. I understand them. They haven't seen it. What I would not understand is if you sat through the whole thing and still hated it. I want to get to know that brain.
You know what? That's like those.
I still feel like you setting people up to catch them hands. Like, did you hear the Bronx in that? Like, did no one else hear the Bronx in that?
Like when I was saying that whole thing of going on that little rant about comics and cartoons, they cover that stuff. That's people who don't want to accept that. They want to live in a bubble. And when when you explain to them like, oh, this is the underlying thing that deals with, that there is a theme there.
Yeah.
Now you just bursted their bubble, and they're like, "Why did you do that?" Oh, I was like, they're being ignorant to it, and they're trying to ignore it. And instead of having a conversation about it, they're going more about on the attack. Like, listen, no one's attacking you. This, like, it was an example I saw in a comic-related group. Again, when I brought up the X-Men example, when I said, like, you know, people would say like how there are politics in a lot of new comics that are coming out. Someone was posting that. And then someone replied in the comments that, oh, you got to leave that stuff out. You know, I come here to try to know, you know, this stuff because that's not in the world of comics. And then you had all these examples from people who pointed out, like, no, this has existed in comics and cartoons for years. For example, Spawn dealt with homelessness. Green Arrow dealt with Speedy on drugs. Iron Man dealt with alcoholism. Giant Man or Ant-Man and Janet Van Dyne, they dealt with spousal abuse. This was stuff that was covered in comics. And then when you look at Avatar, The Last Airbender, it covered conflicts of nations. It covered nations looking for too many power. Because when I made the whole comparison of the United States, it's not just the United States. It's a lot of nations that are like that think that they're better. And you kind of get that shift in Korra when you saw that with Kavara. And again, it's just saying that, you know, a nation that thinks it's more powerful and that they want to go out there like, oh, we're going to change the world. Especially when they explain the Fire Nation in Avatar, we're like, well, we want to bring peace to the whole world. How are we going to bring peace? We're just going to burn it all. I'm like, how do you do that?
It even affected, like, Tenzin was dipping into that too. He's essentially conscripting foreign people into his army. Really? Think about it.
Let's go to Ember Island. How many times can you go to Ember Island and see that damn play?
Oh, that play was awesome. I love that play.
Oh, that play was awful.
It was such a unique way to do a Clips episode.
Yes.
Yes. I think because they also, I don't know if you know this, but they were going to make Toph a man initially. Yeah. And I think the way that Toph reacted when she heard, and she was like, "Is that a man?" Awesome. Like, she like was living.
She was so for it.
Like, all right, this is cool.
She was living her best life.
Favorite villains.
Favorite Zaire.
Just
Kavira.
one. Just
Zaire.
one.
Oh,
Zaire.
just one.
Zaire.
Kavira.
Amon.
What's the name?
Actually, Zaire scared me. I respected Zaire so much because he actually frightened me as a villain.
Can I ask a follow up to that? Does anyone have any favorite villains from the first series? Because to me, I get the feeling that the first series didn't have any.
I like Azula.
Nobody that really stood out.
Maybe.
I like Azula, but Ozai is just like, he's this grand arcing villain, but he's not like.
One of my favorites was Hama, the bloodbending witch.
Oh,
okay.
She was a villain too. Yo, she was one of the scariest villains of that arc.
Mm-hmm.
But
because it was like, oh, like you felt for her in that one episode. You felt for her, and immediately were like, oh, it was so bad. It was such a like a stark difference of like, oh man, like you understand, and then you just see her go like, you're like, nah, like this ain't
you're the witch they're talking about.
Right, like this ain't it, fam. And you see the fear in like Katara's eyes. You see the fear in like Zuko and Aang, and I mean Zuko, in Sokka and Aang, and you're just like, it's got dark, like real quick, real quick.
Like I knew something was off when she was like, "Oh, you have to take the water from the plants," and like you see like everything. I'm like, this seems really like odd for someone
even
to be.
The music shift.
You know, I think the skill in itself is really cool because like that's like, you know, there isn't really any advanced like crazy different types of elements for water, like, you know, with earth and fire you've got like lightning, you've got lava, but with water it's more like where can you get your water? And like that's where your training like really pinpoints to.
So when she started sweating,
yeah, because I was like, I'm making my own water. You know?
If they ever did a like continuation, a next arc, a next Avatar, what would you guys want to see?
Kyoshi for sure.
They have a book.
Back.
They have two.
I would want them to go back. I would want to see Kyoshi, and I would also want to see the in between arc of like what happened to Zuko's mom, what happened to Sokka. You know,
I'm with. I heard a rumor, and I'm still sticking to it. They made a rumor somewhere. I can't find it anywhere. Where the next Avatar was supposed to be two twin Earthbenders.
Oh wow!
That would have been super interesting to see.
I also saw like on a fan base that they wanted to do the next Avatar in like an Africa-based setting.
I wouldn't mind seeing like a series of one-shots covering some of the older Avatars, jump into some in the future, some off-character stuff like that. Like think the hell was that show? Love, Death, and Robots, something like that. Like you're just gonna have like each individual little things. Maybe an episode or two, it'll have its beginning and its end, and then you jump onto somebody else, and
that would be kind of cool. Like little vignettes of like all the different avatars in their history.
Yeah, like pick a couple of them and give them like an episode or two. Some off characters, some of the children, or some of the bigger characters. Stuff like that.
Avatar.
Or like not even avatars. It could just be some of the bigger characters that you had. Maybe look at their family tree.
Well, I was gonna say Avatar. I was gonna say Avatar, the anthologies, like
something like that. Yeah, that would be. I think that would be really cool. It'd be different from what we're used to from the two series that each had many books and seasons. This would just be a compendium of a bunch of different things. I think it would be pretty cool.
I think it'd be kind of cool to have like a cyberpunk future story where bending is gone, a generation or two where it's been forgotten. Like there's an Avatar who just kind of awakens, like and you find out the story is like the spirit.
It feels a little too much like Aang because he was gone for 100 years.
No, it's not that he's been gone. It's that there hasn't been an Avatar for a few generations because the spirit world is closed off. And then it's the first one born after like maybe 100, 200 years, and now you got to find out why that happened.
Right. I like that. I like that a lot.
I always like the idea of like resurrecting magic. So like there's like a couple of stories I've been working on with that.
Because it would make you question, it's like what exactly is happening or going to happen that there's a resurgence in the Avatar.
I'd like to learn a little bit more about the Lion Turtles. Why are they the only ones that have those elementals, those powers, and the ability to give them, like, where are they or what are they considered in the spirit realm? Or like, are they the first, like, or they the alpha and the omega or something like that? Just kind
because they predate the avatars, right?
Yeah, they predate people. Like people lived on the Lion Turtles, and like that's just like that was it. And they were very isolated, so that's why people didn't know until people didn't know other people lived on Lion Turtles. So like why they took on that role of protecting humans. That whole
you could do a whole 3 or 4 books off to that, like just all of that.
Right.
Plus, I'd just like to see like a story, a one shot of Cabbage Man.
Lorisse, what was yours?
I think that story would be really sad because you see his family that he's trying to provide for, and like this freaking kid that always ruins his stand, and all he has is cabbages. He doesn't have a green thumb for any other vegetables.
Well, I mean, he made a whole company called Cabbage Corp.
I think that was his kid after growing up poor,
Yeah.
Hilarious.
An entire series based on how they built the entire company, everything, and generations that happened.
No, it'd be like Silicon Valley.